That's it. It's got parrot or something. Chris, identify that sound, please.
Technology. Chinese bug in our system.
Should be good.
There you go.
We're good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order this public meeting of the Johnson County Board of Commissioners on this Monday, May 22nd, 2023 at 10 o'clock a.m. Please pray with us if you would care to, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you bow with me for a moment of prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, there's so many things to be thankful of today and so many people to pray for. Dear Lord, as we enjoy this good weather, I'm seeing the farmers out in the fields getting their crops in, and I just ask a special blessing on those who provide our food in abundance in this country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. South Central Soccer Academy requesting use of county property located at Morgantown Road and State Road 144 from June 9th to June 11th, 2023. Is there some? Yeah. You would state your name?
Yes.
Rick.
My name is Ryan Durrell, board member of South Central Soccer Academy. In the past, we have asked for use of that property at 144 and Morgantown to add additional parking for overflow for our tournaments that we have twice a year. I was in here a little bit last fall. Back here now, we have a tournament coming up in 2 weeks and requesting permission to use that property for overflow parking.
Okay. Bring up a little bit further discussion. Luke, you want to come up here? Do we have, I know we've got design on that roundabout there.
Yes, design is underway right now.
Okay. When do you anticipate moving dirt?
Next year would be pretty aggressive, but not out of the realm of possibility. With where we are in design, it's possible.
Okay. Ryan, I'd ask you a question now. What if we agreed to do it for a full year so you didn't have to come back? You could use it if you cut the grass there. There's not that much more.
No, we can make that work. That was
Luke,
part
you
of the
good with that?
discussion.
Oh, Luke's got a finger up. Hold on.
No, I'm generally good with that. The only thing that I would bring up is that I had some conversations with the town a couple weeks ago about the potential for us temporarily stockpiling material there during some of our neighborhood work. We're getting killed by turnaround times, hauling material back and forth. We would not need the entire lot for that, and we have not chosen to use it for that use yet.
It's
But
just an option.
yeah, so maybe a possibility of choosing an area where we might be able to do that. The bulk of the property would still be available for the soccer club use.
Good with that?
Yes. So, I assume then Luke and you will work that out as far as,
Yeah, I was gonna
Location.
say, as long as we work together on that, I have no problem with that.
That way you could use it if you have any other tournaments and you don't have to worry about overflow. You've got it to utilize. And
The fun part is anyway, people do crazy things. I've got it roped off so they can't access it, but I mean, I can't control stupidity sometimes.
that's it.
Based on what you said, Commissioner Walls, maybe we ought to make the term until December 31 of this year, and then Then
See
we
what
can
goes
see
from
what the
there.
stockpile situation is, the timing on the roundabout construction, and that'll give you the rest of this year. That would be my recommendation.
Just
You good with that?
Good with that.
Just trying to work a little bit longer with
No,
you.
we greatly appreciate that. And then we'll keep up with the grass.
Okay.
Do you want us to draft a lease? We have a hold harmless ready for this upcoming tournament, but
Yeah, probably just in case somebody gets hurt or something, we'll just, yeah, I'm sure you guys got liability and coverage.
okay, we'll do the hold harmless right now, and then we'll get with you on the lease then. So,
Depends if legal.
yeah, that's fine.
Move to approve it. Contract through December 31st of 2023 pending legal.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good luck.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Public Safety Communications, approval to reappoint all current board members on the 911 Advisory Board.
Heath Brandt, 911 Director. There's actually going to be two new individuals replacing a couple people that have left. So it'd be the Preston Stark and Josh Snyder.
Which I think they were on the list, were they not?
Sorry.
They were on our list.
Yeah, they were on the list. They're not current board members, but they're. And then we'll have one vacancy that I'm working on filling now.
So you will have two new appointees for those?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, Josh
So-
Snyder and
Okay,
Preston
they're-
Stark
okay.
are
I
the,
didn't know if they
are
were
the
new
two that I'm
ones or-
requesting.
That both.
Yeah.
Turned in new.
Darren Hoggett retired and Andrew Thames.
Okay.
No longer on the board.
Move to approve then.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff, I don't know if he's here or not. The approval of. No, I'm
You got
sorry.
planning and
Court
zoning. Hold on.
services.
We got, Michelle's going first.
Yeah, we got planning, and zoning, court services. Sorry, Sheriff.
Just wanted to see you exercise a little bit.
Get you excited. Sorry about that, sir.
Good morning, Michelle Hansard, Planning and Zoning. I have a proposal to clean up unsafe property. It's at 5729 North, 75 West Whiteland. It is to clean up the property and board up the house and detached structure. I sought out quotes from 5 individual companies, I received 2. Ray's Demolition is the lowest, and we've used them in a couple years ago for $4,300.
I'd like to know a little backstory on that, but I mean, will the county be reimbursed for this?
Yes, this is where, once we got the bill, we will assess that plus administration costs
Okay.
to the property.
Okay, just want to make sure. Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Now court services, sorry. Then you, Sheriff. Bet you're getting your steps in back.
Morning, Tony Povinelli, Director of Community Corrections. Looking to get into a contract with OT Systems. I think it was provided to you guys.
I'm good with it. I just pending legal. I'd move
Pending
to
legal,
approve
yes.
pending legal.
I think Sheen said that there was a couple changes that she wanted to work out.
Yeah, we're working together on that. So,
Yeah.
I have a motion second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now, Sheriff. Gave you plenty of time to prepare.
Yes, yes.
Hey, I like it.
Dwayne Burgess, Johnson County Sheriff.
I'm going there too.
Get it back in there.
Yeah.
Normal CHIRP grant that comes up every year.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Sheriff. Did you get your camping in? Good deal. Good deal. We all need a break occasionally, sir. Health. Betsy's on Zoom.
I'm here. I'm here.
Ordinance 2023-0-10. First reading.
Hi, Betsy Swearingen, Director, Health Department.
Anything you want to add to this, Betsy, or we good?
No, we're good with it. Adam and Tiffany and my septic staff have worked with us and we're happy with it.
I'd move to approve first reading.
Second.
Have a motion and second for first reading on ordinance 2023-0-10. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Betsy. Animal shelter ordinance 2023-0-11, first reading.
Good morning, Carrie Clutchy, Director, Animal Shelter.
I had assumed this was done a long time ago, but were you under that impression also? We talked about it with the mayors and other.
Yeah.
Well, this is something different. This is just internal fees changing for
Okay,
the
so
shelter.
this is,
For that,
okay,
for the purposes,
the-
right?
yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah, so it hasn't changed.
so
We did do
this
this.
is. I move to approve first reading.
Second. I had a question on the topic of Marion County sending people down here. Could we not just limit the animal intake to Johnson County residents?
So we do. The problem is if you live in Greenwood and your dog gets out, there's a good chance that a Marion County resident will find your dog. The problem is if they take it to their shelter, they're being told they can't leave it. So then the dog, what Marion County tells their residents is release the dog. So what's happening, dogs in Marion County are being hit by cars. So if your dog, if you live in Greenwood or even in Franklin and a Marion County resident picks up your dog and I turn that dog away and it ends up in downtown Indianapolis because that resident released it, one, you're never going to find your dog, and two, your dog is likely to be dead.
But if the Marion County resident picks up the dog,
Mhm.
it's a Johnson County animal.
Correct.
How do they know it's a Johnson County animal?
So that is really tricky. So the only thing we can do is ask them for exact locations.
But that
And,
wouldn't establish ownership. That would just be where they,
yep.
yeah.
So it is tricky, and I can tell you it's probably a 50-50 on what we're getting. And I know that we're getting animals in from Marion County, but I can't prove it. So the only thing we could think of is to make those fee for Marion County residents higher to try to offset some of the financial burden that it's putting on us. It doesn't help with our numbers. It doesn't help with any of that, but at least it helps with some of the financial burden. Because it puts us in a horrible spot. We don't know. I mean, I know if it was my dog and someone from Marion County picked it up here in Franklin, I would want the shelter to take it in, but also I know that I don't want to take in dogs from Marion County. I don't know how to protect the Johnson County residents without also, putting a burden on the shelter at the same time with Marion County dogs.
It may just boil down to numbers.
And
And if
numbers
you're
are rough right
getting-
now.
Let's say you're getting 100 animals and only 2 of them are possible Johnson County resident pets versus 98 Marion County, then it becomes a easier task in either not taking them or taking them.
Yeah, but we're having less of that than we are of Johnson County residents finding dogs in Marion County and Marion County saying, you're not a resident, we're not helping you. And at first we would tell them, if you didn't find it in our county, we won't take it. We did that and a guy then got attacked by that dog because Marion County wouldn't take it, we wouldn't take it, he took it home and it attacked him.
Hmm.
So now if you're a Johnson County resident, we take the animal from you regardless of where you found it.
Okay.
And I know, and Carrie and I were involved in this a little bit, and we gave a letter of support to Hamilton County. Hamilton County is going to Marion County discussing this issue, especially with Mayor Hogsett, I know was involved in that meeting. And I'm not sure exactly the total outcome of that meeting, but they were supposed to start working on improving some
Yes.
things in Marion County to maybe help. So I know Mark Harebrant with Hamilton County has been really involved in that with their shelters. So because they're experiencing, the donut counties are all experiencing the same thing. It's out of the Marion County area. So anyway, it is being worked on, but I hope they do more than what they've done so far to help us out in that.
And you did say that Marion County refuses to take them, right?
Yes, if you're a Johnson County resident,
Yeah.
no matter where you found it, they will not accept an
So
animal
it's
from you.
what's good for the goose, that'll be good for the gander, right?
Yeah, and I hope that's what we get some things changed there. And I'll be in discussion with Commissioner Harebrant on how that's going since it deals with animal shelters. So we'll continue that forward and see where we go. I know supposedly the mayor was pretty shocked. He didn't know all that was going on. So maybe they'll make some changes because there was some really bad stuff going on there. So anyway, we'll work on that.
Thank you.
But thank you, Carrie.
We got a first and a second.
Have a motion and a second on first reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Surveyor ordinance 2023-0-12, first reading. Got a lot of first readings.
First readings.
Been busy.
Moving.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. Before you are our fee adjustments. We have adjusted in the past the fees which relate directly to the drains. This is the first time in my tenure, so the first time in almost 8 years that we're raising those fees that deal with the minor plats, major plats, commercial, those that were within the municipality, those fees that go directly back to the general fund. Roger thought since we were taking these and raising them, that we ought to bring the entire schedule and give it to you. So that's where we're at.
One of the problems I've always had with these fees and the drainage board is if a property owner has a situation where his neighbor is creating a runoff problem for his property, and he goes to the drainage board and he has to pay a fee to get the drainage board to look at it. I don't think that's appropriate personally. I mean, that's you're getting paid and your people are getting paid. The drainage board, you know, that whether they're somewhat voluntary, I guess, or they get a stipend, but I don't think that's right for the property owner to have to pay a fee to go and make a situation aware where he's suffering damage. And I know one particular instance a few years back where the farmer on one side, the property owner I was working with put in underground drains that carry the water across his property instead of letting it sheet flow. And the farmer went and mounted up in front of the drain on his side of the property to force the water out around it. And he got no relief. He paid the fee, but he got no relief from the drainage board. So I would, under your petitions, removal of obstruction or reclassification, I wouldn't go with a fee there. If somebody had a complaint, they ought to be able to express it and get results without being charged a fee.
That particular case you're talking about is an obstruction. That's really the only thing that we can do by state statute. If someone's backing water up on you, We could deal with that through the drainage board, through state statute. Those other problems more or less come down to civil matters. And we look at all of them without cost.
Yeah.
But when they actually have a situation where there is an obstruction and the surveyor can prove, hey, it looks like there's an obstruction, that's when they pay that fee to go through that legal process to get that obstruction removed. All the other times, we look at them free.
But still, why would they pay a fee to get the obstruction moved?
I
And
believe
the person that put the obstruction there should be liable, right?
they are. But it's a long, drawn out process. And I can bring you the ordinance, the statutes, actually.
Yeah, I understand that. My point only is that we're already civil servants and getting paid to perform that service. You would, in other words, you're gonna perform that service once you get the fee, right?
We're going to look at it, all of the
Yeah, but I'm just
situations.
saying
prior to-
on the obstruction removable, where here you're recommending a $300 fee, so the person that's suffering the consequences of the obstruction pays the $300 fee. You go out and substantiate it, get the obstruction moved, I'm assuming, is that right?
Not necessarily.
Well, it's,
In a perfect world, yeah.
okay.
In a perfect world,
So
if
my point is, you're getting paid either way. So why should the person suffering the consequence of the obstruction be charged a fee?
probably because it's a longer process.
But you're getting paid anyway.
Correct.
It's part, when you run for surveyor or your people hire on, that's part of their duties, right?
Correct. You could say that for all these fees.
Well, yeah, and I agree. And I've brought that point up in planning and zoning before on some occasions too. So I just think that one, I don't have a problem with the rest of them, but that one particular one I do. Maybe you need to rewrite that one section and give it some different clarifications. I don't know.
I'd have to throw that back to our legal because that's all state statute.
Yeah.
The only thing, some of these obstructions, Commissioner, they have to send out, I mean, they'll look at it, if it's more than what meets the eye, they've got to, they send it out to an outside consultant, and that's where some of these fees are built in here to cover that outside consultant, is what they are. And we look at obstructions all the time. But if it gets, and usually it ends up civil matter when you're sitting here watching people back, one's shaking yes and the other one's shaking no, you're going, so we try to put them into civil, but we don't charge right out of the box for these. We actually look at them, and then if it determines it goes civil, then it goes into the court systems, and that's when the obstruction fee, because it gets a little bit more critical at that point. So, I mean, we don't, just because they file an obstruction, they can come in here and talk to us as a drainage board, and we look at it, and if it's simple, we try to solve it right there. If it's not, that's where the fees would come in, because it gets a lot deeper than just settling it right here in a board meeting. So are you following me on that? No?
Yeah, but I still don't think it's right.
Okay.
I mean, if you have to go to an outside engineering firm, I guess that cost should be borne by the person who put the obstruction in place, right? Again, I'm going back to the individual who's suffering the consequences of the obstruction being charged a fee to have that remedy.
The taxpayer could always request reimbursement through the civil suit of paying these fees as well, though. So they can.
Well, I
recoup that.
understand that. I mean, if they're charged a fee, all I'm saying is that I don't think they ought to be charged a fee to begin with. I love the surveyor. He's a good guy. I always giving him a little heartburn. Anyway, that's my objection to this ordinance.
We'll look at it. I think through statute, drainage board carries a lot different statutes and a lot of other entities do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would move to approve all of these except for that, and we'll take it up with legal and we'll take it up at our next
Yeah.
board meeting and see, and then come back if
Okay,
that's,
I'll second that.
that's fair. Fair with you, Surveyor?
Absolutely.
What's that? There's section number to that.
There's no section number. It's just petition and removal, obstruction and reclassification.
So we have a motion and a second to approve under first reading, everything but the section of the obstruction burden. Would that be proper?
Yeah, there's no number on it really.
And then again, this under first reading, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Surveyor. Highway. Several things there. Go for it, Luke.
Not as many as some weeks.
That's true.
Luke Maston, Highway Supervisor. First item is our request for approval of our 2022 annual report of highway funds. Commissioner West's favorite meeting of the year.
I don't have a problem with it. The print was way too small anyway. But
Blow it up.
That certainly was on
it's bigger on
purpose at all.
here, yeah, now than I've looked at it before, but I would go ahead and move to approve. It's an after the fact anyway.
Second.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. It is what it was, I guess.
Was, yeah, it is what it was.
Have a motion and second for approval 2022 annual operational
Oh,
report.
here's a small print on this one. No, don't do that. It takes my argument away.
You should do that more often.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, sir.
That item real quick does not need to be signed. I actually have to send it in, so you don't have to worry about signing the sheet.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
Morning, Daniel Johnston, Highway Engineer. So the second item is we are requesting your approval and execution of the design contract, professional engineering and right-of-way services for Bridge 85 and Culvert P004 replacement. This would be with Strand Associates. Both of these structures are on Whiteland Road, just east of 75 West. The contract amount is not to, excuse me, not to exceed amount of $355,790 for this contract.
What's a total estimate of this project, you know?
I can get that number for you in terms
Yeah,
of construction.
I was out there and looked at it. The bridge is over the legal drain, right?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
both are.
I wasn't sure where the culvert was, but the bridge.
It's about 500, 600 feet east of there, right at the driveway for that adjacent wastewater treatment facility.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. How long is that gonna be closed, you know?
Still needs to be determined. I would anticipate, since it is two structures and we have to maintain access to that wastewater facility, it may have to alternate. So I guess longer than desired, but but we'll still refine that.
Well, if you could get the total cost to me, I'd be
Okay.
interested in seeing it. I go ahead and move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further?
Yeah, the one thing that's gonna be tough is that culvert, because that carries the water from the wastewater treatment plant and it doesn't ever stop.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Pitney Bowes.
Last item is our request to approve the next 5-year contract with Pitney Bowes for lease of our postage machine at the Highway Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Thank you, Daniel. Sorry. On the Board of Commissioners, appointment of board member to the Nineveh Fire Protection District Board. And I don't think we have one, do we? At this point,
We don't have any applications yet, so.
I know I've spoken to Chief Snyder, who is going to be working on trying to find someone for that. So we probably just need to table that.
It's fine.
Okay, move to table.
Second.
The motion second to table. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2023-R-05, approving the acceptance of funds from City of Franklin, Indiana Board of Public Works and Safety for Johnson County Public Transportation Service.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of contract with Elevatus for programming and conceptual design of the Johnson County Community Corrections Project.
Is this just conceptual design?
Yes, this is just for their programming, programming conceptual
I know we
design.
already approved. We approved one earlier, I think, just for the preliminary, like 16,000.
Yeah, that was the preliminary. That's.
This one's a little bit more than that.
Yes, it is.
So I guess Commissioner, you okay with this or?
Yeah, I'm just surprised that we got to the invoice stage before we approved the contract, but
Well, we did, I think we approved the 16,000 early on for some basically conceptual early design stuff.
Preliminary.
we've improved the
Preliminary.
funding
We-
source,
The
yeah,
16.5 we approved.
yeah.
This is the whole enchilada here. So,
Well, where's the amount for the whole
oh,
enchilada?
I saw it in here. I got a take on it.
Is it the 843,750
It says the
or
range.
796, 875 or?
The range would translate between 796, 875 and 843, 750. That's at a 6.25 rate on the anticipated. So it's going to fluctuate depending on the actual layout of the building, size and all that. So, which has been running with some of the other projects at about 6.6 to 6.2. Unfortunately, used to be 4. You see they've got it broke down, don't you, Ron?
Huh?
You see they've got it broke down. Look at the schematic design and they go to design development, construction documents, and then bidding for 5%.
He's on vacation today.
You see that the headlines on all those categories.
Only on the 16.5. That's all I got. 1,600.
Go back up to the main body. Go back up to the main body.
You mean enlarge it for you?
See above all those categories where it's got,
It's in the last paragraph on that page.
That would be your phone ringing.
Boy, yeah, I saw that, but I was looking for numbers.
it's percentages on a range. They're not going to give you exact numbers. They're just
Yeah,
going to
it's
give
that
you,
range they gave you and percentages on that.
Yeah.
so
Okay.
whatever. But we got to talk about funding source.
Yeah, I don't think we can really approve this at this point. I think probably be better off just tabling it and get some more information. Or Adam suggests we could approve it pending legal, but do we really want to approve it pending legal at this point?
You can always pull it back if you do that, but I think there's some reason to maybe slow this one down, at least until mental health facilities bid out to
Agreed.
make sure we shore up the funding from ARPA.
Budget wise, yeah. Because right now we're tight.
Was you're gonna look at another
I think
$850,000.
we should have something on the mental health facility, I would think, in the next couple of weeks.
Right, June
Yeah, we opened bids the first meeting in June, I think, is when we
So
opened
I
bids.
say we,
17.
you know, till we get those figures, I think we ought to table this. I really do.
Yeah.
And that'll give Ron time to make it bigger and look at it too.
No, I can see this all right.
Move to table.
Well, yeah, if we're looking at the whole enchilada and we don't have a funding source yet, I don't know how we can enter into.
We gotta end up, I think what we were talking
We don't even know
about
what
is
flavor yet.
we gotta see what the mental health facility comes in at, because that, I don't know.
Yeah, but Adam and I just met with Wes here, and going over all the figures that we've got so far. We're pretty tight. We're pretty well spent out right now, so we gotta be careful what we do as far as proving anything that would go out of those funds, so I think we ought to table it till we get those costs on the mental health facility.
So we don't have any agreement with Elvis at all.
For the 16,500.
The original.
We got a contract for that. Separate from this.
For the original, yeah, look at it.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, I'll second that. Move the table.
I think this was the agreement they sent to Wes.
They got it as part of this, so I'm not sure.
Clarify that, we'll pay the 16,500 for the design, what they've done to date, but we'll put this on hold until we find out where we're at financially. So I want to pay them for the 16,500 that they've worked on and brought everything to the committee that's working on it. But I would hold this contract until we find out.
Well, they're only billing us $1,650 right now, so,
Right, that's what he's saying to approve paying.
yeah.
I mean, the
I'll go with
16,500
this.
is what we kind of agreed upon. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that money's there because they're probably still moving on other things. They're bringing drawings, they're doing more conceptual. I haven't been in those committee meetings, so I don't know. I'm just assuming at this
Yeah,
point.
oh, yeah, I've been reading the minutes from what they're doing.
Yeah, and we don't have a contract with them currently. This is all that we've been provided thus far. So we don't have anything signed with them yet, so.
We got the money approved.
So we're working on a verbal agreement?
I don't know what happened. I think they thought we were further along in this process, so they started working. So that's when we got this document from Wes to get us approved. Then I think we're just gonna limit it just to the initial design, conceptually the 16.5. We can edit this document down to limit the scope of what they're doing.
I don't think you need to limit it. I think we need to find a funding source. The programming and conceptual design is 16,500 fixed and maybe credited. So they'll work under that 16,500 is what it's saying right here. Good
Yeah.
with that?
I don't think we should go any farther than that.
No, that's where I just want to go in there.
Well, I would move to approve the 1,650 that they're billing us currently.
But have they
That's all
done
we're really
any,
doing right now is just
they haven't done anything, I don't know. I'm not on that.
I don't know either.
programming.
Yeah, but
That's what it
they've asked for
says.
16.
Who's on that? So you're saying, from what you've seen, they haven't done any more than that?
Well, I'm not sure how they're billing us for that time. Tony V or Vi, whatever his name, him and the other gentleman that was ex-sheriff, they've been to a lot of meetings and been a lot of site visitations, so they've been actively involved, so I don't think this $1,650 covers what they've done so far, but that's all they billed us up through April 30th, so I would approve to pay that, yes.
And I see what he's saying. Then if we get another bill, we can approve that bill.
Okay.
Two up to that. I see what you're saying. We haven't got an invoice to approve, so it's. sort of
Yeah.
something we don't
All
have.
we got is just 1650.
And if we're not approving the contract, then the way he's working it probably is the best.
So
way
let's-
legally.
This is not gonna impede anything. You know,
No.
we just go ahead and pay this and they can still,
No, that's a good point.
fact matter, the under scheduling, the wording they had, we are prepared to begin work immediately. This was dated February something.
I think they have been working though.
Yeah,
But when they get us another invoice, we can approve that under
Yeah.
our claim, just like he's doing.
Yeah.
So your motion is to
pay the
approve the
1650, yeah.
Second, you got that, Elizabeth?
Yes, got it.
Just want to make sure the thing was going around the,
have a
going around the ribbon
motion.
a little bit.
Yeah, motion is second to pay the claim of $1,650 and then table the current discussion
Yeah,
at
that's
this
fine.
point.
Take a little bit more information.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. That was a little tough.
Interesting.
Get there, wasn't it? Yeah. Award and approval of contract for the Johnson County Fair Grounds paving project, and just for purposes, I know Ron had taken notes, looked at it and had some questions, and we did get all those questions answered and everything prepared for that. So at this point, along with, I had Luke and Daniel look at this too, as far as what was being done. So Globe came out of that at the price they were at the cheaper price, doing everything that we needed done at that point. So
Well, thanks for the upgrade to the fairgrounds, because this will be a nice upgrade.
it will be, and it makes a big difference if you go there and look at what they're doing. Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, I would recommend Globe Asphalt Paving Company for that.
I'll second that motion.
I was gonna let you do that.
Well,
I was just saying I would recommend.
yeah.
Globe.
I'll let you make
I
a
got
wasn't really
motion.
I had a lot of questions on it, but nevertheless, you know, we need to get it done before the fair, so.
Yeah, and it is,
Yeah.
according to the experts that looked at it and the questions that were asked, and I guess Luke's an expert. He always seems to be one to me. We're getting what we need to be getting done out there. So I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Approval of administrative services agreement with Anthem Insurance Companies. I think you had something. on this,
Yeah,
Danny.
I called
60
Michael up
pages.
at LHD. There was two parts in here that I had a question on. One was on a health wellness charge and the other was a HSA administrative fee. He explained that they're both a mandatory condition of Anthem's policy and something we've done all along anyway. So I would move to go ahead and approve it.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I did, I told Jonathan T. Myers out there earlier today that I was gonna recommend to the other two commissioners that the insurance charge to the departments that reimburses for that service should go to 12,500 annually instead of 11,500. And the reason for that is to date, we're running about 372,000, well, to date, up through April, we're running about $372,000 higher than last year. And if we extrapolate that out, we could potentially be looking at somewhere around a $1.2 million increase in health costs. So for budgeting purposes, I would recommend that we apply a $12,500 fee.
Is that a motion? Or is that for them to consider?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I was gonna bring it up under new business, but let's go ahead. I'll make that a motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to increase from 11.5 to 12.5 or make that recommendation. Correct. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Commissioner, for the insurance, I know you said we're possibly on track to be up $1.2 million for the annual. I mean, that's a projection. I know that's what you're doing. But last year we had a substantial savings, didn't we, from the year prior?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not, I mean, it's kind of just bouncing back and forth, just depends on.
Well, yeah, last year was it's almost unexplainable coming out of COVID like we did. Maybe that had some bearing on it. I don't know. People weren't as mobile and probably watching their health better, given some of the health protocols that were put in place during that. It's be hard to explain why it happened, but as you know, we're self-funded and it doesn't take but just a few high dollar events to really push us over the expense level that we currently enjoyed. So, and this is just kind of precautionary as a way to make sure we're covered going forward. But we've been at 11.5 for several years now, and so it's probably time to revisit that.
Okay.
And if things turn around, next year we can always reduce it again. Yeah.
Okay.
Claims and credit card.
The only thing
Yeah, so
I had two things, one for the sheriff, who's, doesn't look like he's still here. And it's not, I'm not
Julie's giving him
disputing
out.
the claim, I'm just curious. Is the sheriff out there? No. Yeah, he is. Sheriff, you had 6 charges at a speedway station in Claremont for fuel. And they were all pretty close together within a short time frame. And I was just wondering with our Wexbrook,
Motorcycle school.
but I was just curious why they're not using the WEX program funding or charge.
That card will not work at all locations. I tried to get it at Marathon, it just may not have worked at that location and they just.
How many motorcycles?
We have, we took 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay, but because it was like $46 one time and it's pretty,
All of them's on one.
yeah, okay. I was just curious of why we would have it in Claremont when they could get back down here. But
Because the instructors are in Claremont, we don't have instructors here.
okay. Just curious, and then I showed this with the other 2 commissioners. CASA had a charge at La Trattoria. It shows $2,890.18, of which there was $143.82 reduction for the tax charge on it. But and I know we don't have a lot of say on CASA. That's pretty much circuit court judge. It has that oversight. But it might be time to look at some of those expenditures that CASA has. And I know it's for their volunteers, but almost $3,000 for a dinner is, to me, is exorbitant. And I think possibly those funds could be used in a maybe a more beneficial way. I got no idea how many people attended that dinner. But I just wanted to point that out publicly, that there might be a way to look at those funds and how they're utilized.
No.
Other than that, I want to congratulate Highway Department again on no Amazon purchases. Month after month, they are leading the department in that regard. I'm surprised I haven't heard from the Chinese denouncing the Highway Department by now, but they haven't gotten that to me. Anyway, other than that, I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further?
I guess questioning on CASA, I mean, what do you want to do with that? I mean, we're going to approve it, or do you want to?
No, I'll go ahead and approve. I did have one other that I didn't have time to check this morning, but the probation drug court reentry had a charge of $345.31 for plastic candy jars and rolling totes. I know they give out gift certificates and things like that for the reentry participants, but plastic candy jars and rolling totes, that's a new one on me. But yeah, I'm not denying the claim for CASA. We need to go ahead and approve it. I'm just making a point that's.
I'd be curious to see how many people they did serve though.
Yeah.
I would be curious to.
I got, this is a copy of the invoice and it doesn't say on there the amount of people.
I second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of contract with Aquatic Services Indiana for animal shelter food pending legal.
Approved pending legal.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of government building primary designer acknowledgement, section 179D letter.
So I was hoping that Pete would be here. Cause I got a question on that. Apparently that is a credit that RQAW would be subject to receiving for the HVA system that was put in and the conservancy related to it. My question to them is, why should they get the credit, not the county? I mean, we paid them for the service, we paid for the HVAC. I just don't understand unless it's just solely that
I think we did this on the jail project too. We actually.
this
did
is a
for-
jail.
Well, I'm sorry, not the jail project. Amoresco, when they did our energy savings here, they came back and asked for this same, it's a government reimbursement program for, I guess, the consultant or contractor pushing you into this energy saving format. So I think we tried it with Amoresco too, and it wasn't viable to come back to us. It stops at the consultant or designer. So.
Adam had his 2012 law school book and he was
Well,
researching.
those
it.
books are expensive. I can't buy a whole new IRS code every year, but
We like the judges, they charge us for books.
yeah, I
They
think
do.
Tiffany, we don't think that we're actually the ones eligible for this credit anyway is the issue. So I think it has to be passed on to the consultant, like
We
Commissioner Wall
had the
said.
same issue here on this building.
Because we did the same thing, and I know they came back and
Yeah,
asked for.
so maybe going forward, when we contract with these people, we might ask them to surrender any and all credits that they might.
I don't know if it's
be subject to.
statutorily possible. I don't know.
I don't
That's,
think that
I don't
is, we
know
can
that.
certainly look into it at the next one, but
It just. I mean, there's really no common sense to that at all. We pay them the full amount, we pay for the HVAC and they get the credit. I mean,
but they put us in a position to save money on the long term, over the long haul on our energy savings, and they get a credit from the federal government for designing that system accordingly.
So let's just assume that we didn't use anybody, we designed it ourselves. Could we get the credit?
If you're willing to put your line out there
No,
and
I'm
design
just,
this thing.
You know, theoretically. What I would do going forward is I would simply say to the contractor that we're getting ready to use, would you be willing to surrender any and all credits derived from expenses we incur in this process?
And if
And
they
this is
say
what they
no, where do we go from there?
Then one of them might say yes, you know, I just.
Oh, dudes, I guarantee you, they're not gonna say.
I would simply ask them to quit. I guarantee you, if you said to RQAW, well, we're going with this other company, if you're not gonna surrender.
there
They
could,
surrender.
there could be, as the country shifts to green energy, I mean, there probably would be incentives for entities on our end if we buy in to get our own tax credit. I think the policy behind this specific one is probably to incentivize those consultants to push the conversation towards that way. So there probably is grants or credits of some kind that are out there for the final, purchaser at that point. So we can look into those. I don't know if we could compel them. I mean, you can do anything on a
No,
contract,
I'm
but I
not saying
don't,
compel them. I'm simply saying ask them.
those aren't to ask, but I don't know if they'd be willing to give those credits up.
Well, and again, I say, it becomes part of the competitiveness of the bid process. And if they don't want to, maybe the next company does. It might have a bearing on who you select. If I was doing it for my home, as just an example, or my business, those are the kind of questions I would ask. And that's basically what we should be doing also when we enter into these things. Trying to look out for the best deal we
I
can
guess
get.
Elevatus would be the first one to ask since
Huh?
Elevatus would be the first one to ask since we've talked about this. So I guess you could ask them if they'd
Yeah,
be willing to
Exactly. Good
share
point.
it through
Yeah, good point. Ask them when you talk to them.
your project, sir.
I'll ask them. Get them on the phone. Anyway, I just thought that was unusual that we would be, and I don't have a problem, I guess, at this point, if there was no recovery on our part, unless you wanted to call Pete up and see if they'd give us.
I know there wasn't any on, when we did this, these buildings here,
Yeah.
there wasn't any, we couldn't get any of it.
I think that we went around
I guess you could
on
ask,
this one.
if it's gonna be under the energy savings, you could ask for an upfront discount. No, you can't take the money that belongs to them, but you could ask for a discount.
Yeah.
If we're going that direction, they could give a percentage of it back, I
And
guess.
we had to do it over a
Negotiations.
certain period of time with energy savings with Amoresco. It was kind of a long drawn out process.
Just remind me, I don't want to do work on Ron's house, because then he's gonna take my profit away from me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not allowed to make any profit.
Except for when he's cold in the winter and hot in the summer, I wonder why.
And then I'm gonna really get him then. Do I have a motion? Did we get a motion?
We did not get a motion.
Anybody want?
I move to approve it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Good discussion, though. Commissioner minutes, 5/3/2023 ARPA committee meeting, and 5/8/2023 regular commissioner meeting.
Move to approve both of them.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anything under new business? I know we took care of the one already, so. Not any public comment? Hearing none?
Move to adjourn, sir.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.